Hello, it's Tracy and Jack here. We're going to be working on shoulder in facing this morning. And my question for Jenku is, as I'm engaging the inside hind leg, I feel that Jack sometimes falls through his outside shoulder, and my temptation is to try to think about blocking that shoulder back in again, but I don't think I'm doing the right thing. So just some advice on that, please. Thank you. Come on, Jack. Okay. Good boy. So tap. And also, it tends to be more on this right rein that he falls through the outside shoulder. So there I'm just going to ask for a bit more engagement. And there I feel like he's falling. So my temptation is to do this, boy, and start again. And then that feels better, but then I want a bit more engagement. So, up. Thank you, good boy. But then he falls again. So I'm just a little bit unsure. Now I'm falling, go again. And then I'm also tempted, good boy. I'm tempted as well to almost change hands and put my hand on this outside ring instead of this inside ring, but I'm pretty sure that's not the right thing to do. If you can help me, please. Thank you, Jenku. Good boy.
Thank you, Tracy, for your very nice video. Interesting questions get interesting answers. What we want to ultimately do is focus on what it is that we want rather than focusing on what we don't want. So what we don't want him to do is obviously not to fall through his shoulder. So that's the obvious thing that he's doing. But something that's a little bit less obvious is that he's up in his pole and he's in front of the vertical, and therefore his back muscles are contracted. And as long as his back muscles are contracted and he's not really relaxing and letting go in his back muscles, it will be virtually impossible for him to use his stomach muscles to swing his inside hind foot forward and under the deepest part of the saddle where your weight will be. So in order to do that, he needs to relax a little bit more first over his back so that he can really contract his stomach muscles. And what I would like to suggest is when you're standing facing him and you hook your thumb into the snaffle ring like this, is that you really focus on putting your forearm, this part of your arm, against his muzzle on the side of his face, so that your arm actually becomes an extension of his spine, and so that you can really feel what he's doing in his hindquarters. So that's really important to focus on. Otherwise, what happens is he actually takes his muzzle away from your arm, or you come a little bit into the circle, and so it becomes harder to control his spine. So you want to be able to do that, and ultimately, in order to do that, he needs to let go more in his back muscles. Once you have him where he's more relaxed in his back muscles, it's very nice to see that you're touching him with a stick in time with that hind leg. As his hind foot touches the ground, you tap him with the stick, which is the trigger for him to lift his inside hind leg and step forward and under. So definitely that works as well. Now ultimately you can switch sides and put your hand on the outside snaffle ring like you showed in the video, or you could use your stick to block the outside shoulder. But fundamentally, in my mind, if we do that, we are starting to focus on what it is that we don't want rather than focusing on what we do want. So in order to help him, you can do it in two ways. The one is to stay on a circle and just allow Jack to try something, fail at it, learn from it, improve on it, and then ultimately you want to click when you see him stepping more forward and under. What I do imagine when we're doing this is, if you can imagine under the deepest part of the saddle where your weight is, that you attach a little torch here under his sternum, and that the torch shines a light the size of a dinner plate on the ground. And every step that he takes, what we want him to do is step with his right hind foot and that circle of light. And you will find that if he steps with his inside hind foot and that circle of light, he'll definitely be lighter in his shoulders, because his inside hind leg is effectively so far forward and under that he's able to lighten his shoulders, and then you'll be able to steer him a lot better because he's not heavy on his shoulders. So that's really important to understand and to encourage that. So you can just keep walking on the circle and allow him just to try and figure it out. The other option is to be a little bit firmer with the stick, so that you ask him a little bit more deliberate to swing that inside hind leg forward and under. But then you also have to be very quick to click and reward him when he does try and swing his hind leg and step with his inside hind foot under the deepest part of the saddle in that circle of light. I trust that this is a useful answer. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. And I'm really looking forward to your next video.